All right. Good evening, everybody. I am doing an unannounced and spontaneous live tonight. I just finished doing a crypto talk for one of my clients, and it sparked something in me. Because today is Juneteenth, a new national holiday in America, and there, I guarantee you, there's still many Americans who have absolutely no idea why we are celebrating this day, whether people who look like me and people who do not. But even for my message today is not really even for the people who don't look like me. It is for those who do, of understanding not only the importance of this day, but continuing the movement from this date. On July 4th, 1776. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. My name is Brandon Ivey from Los Angeles, California. I'm the founder and CEO of Ivy League Crypto Academy. Happy Juneteenth Day. So let me get that in there. So July 4th, 1776, the United States of America declared its independence and declared freedom from oppression from authoritarian state, a monarchy of the Great Britain, and wanted our independence with the claim that all men are created equal. We are free as a nation, free to practice what we want, pray as we want, our religion, our faith, everything. Now, the idea was sound, but in practice, not everybody was free. So while America loves to celebrate July 4th, 1776, every single year, the people who looked like me were still enslaved during that time. We were not free. And when the Emancipation Proclamation came down, there was no internet, there was no cell phones, there was no fax machine, there were no radios, there was no television to get the word out to everybody. It took another 2 years before hundreds of thousands of slaves in the South and Texas got the word that they actually were free. That is what today's celebration is about, because it is the day where all Americans now have the same life, liberty, and freedom of each other that 1776 and the Constitution was supposed to give, even though we had to throw in there the 13th Amendment later on. Now, just because we were declared free, that still didn't mean that we were all being treated as equal. That's a fight that is still taking place to this day. We're not all treated equally. But due to the efforts of our nation, of our ancestors, that we have been able to advance in that. It hasn't been easy. It hasn't come without consequences. It hasn't come without sacrifice and losing lives for the idea of all men and women of any color, race, and creed should be treated equally and fairly. The one thing that I was always taught in my life is the philosophy of performance. All I want is to be treated equally. I don't need a handout. I don't need a hand up. I don't need, anything other than let me be able to compete as fairly as everybody else and move out of my way. Give me an opportunity, because even though slaves were made free, they still weren't given equal opportunity. We're talking about a whole nother century that has to pass by before the civil rights movement took place. And even the civil rights movement, we're still talking about more than 50 years ago that we're removed to today. One thing that I have learned now that I turn 47 years old next month, is that slavery actually never ended. What? What do you mean? Slavery just changed. It's no longer physical bondage, but it still is a mental bondage, and even bigger, in economic bondage. If you're working, let me put it this way, slavery no longer matters the skin of your race, your skin color. It's a class-based system today more than a racial-based system. It's a class system, the haves and the have-nots. The goal today should be financial independence. If you have complete financial independence, you are your own master at this point. You make your own rules. You live by your own creed. You don't have to answer to somebody. And I was blessed to reach the point where I was able to walk off my 9 to 5 job 11 years ago next month. And that's where for the first time, I experienced complete freedom. See, the system is designed to keep you in a certain status. You're working a 9 to 5 job where you're making barely enough money to pay your bills and rent, and you stay there, but you don't quit because you don't want to lose that money. The companies just pay just enough to survive, and you work hard enough, just enough so you don't get fired. And it's this rat race. And it's not my opinion on this. The stats speak for themselves. 97% of all Americans will retire broke, depending on family, government, and friends by the age of 65. Most Americans don't have $1,000 in their savings account. Most Americans cannot afford a $400 emergency without going into debt. And now imagine those statistics, but you have the same skin color as me. That makes it even worse for you, more difficult. Our goal now is to have financial freedom, financial power, an economic block. And when you have an economic block as a community, you can do whatever you want to do. And I know people will say, well, Brandon, that's a still struggle that we have because we still have economic inequality. We still are experiencing systemic racism. How do we overcome that? How do we fight that? There's a movement in America right now to take us backwards, to take out of school our ability to learn our history, to hear about anything that might be considered woke or anything that might be considered learning about diversity as something that is evil because one section of the population feels bad about it. The answer to this again is economic, financial freedom. And 7 years ago, I stumbled on something that changed my life. It changed my perspective. How do you achieve financial, economic freedom without saying, oh, well, I got to be a rapper, I got to be a basketball player, I got to be an artist, I got to be, a musician? How can you achieve that in a system that's not designed for you to succeed by design? There's always exceptions to the rule. There are those that have made it, but they are exception to the rule, not the norm. How do we do that? Well, I found the solution to this. And it wasn't just a solution for me. In 2017, I had an aha moment, a wake-up call that hit me like a ton of bricks. It was the advancement of a new technology that's coming around called distributed ledger technology. Or in other words, the blockchain, for what you may hear. You're like, what in the world? What is he talking? What does blockchain have to do with Juneteenth and all this? Stay with me. Juneteenth gave us freedom from shackles. What I'm about to tell you is going to give you freedom from here, and you'll have the economic resources to do what you want to do without needing permission. See, I discovered two things that changed my life in 2017. The first is that the technology was bringing apart the fourth industrial revolution. Blockchain technology is going to disrupt every single industry on the planet today, whether you like it or not, believe it or not, trust it or not. Your opinion is irrelevant. And whenever you have new technology that is coming to the forefront, those who take advantage of it become the Rockefellers, become the Vanderbilts, become the Kennedys. These are families that over dozens and hundreds and generational wealth that's being generated because great grandpa took advantage of an industry that was exploding. The third industrial revolution, not everybody was able to be a part of it. The gold rush, not everybody was able to be a part of it. So the only thing we have is we need to get educated, go to school, get good grades, get a good, safe, secure job. And that doesn't work. So outside of the box, we got to look at where is the river of money going? Where is the opportunity for anybody to be involved and that they can thrive based on their own performance. This is the fourth industrial revolution. I realize that cryptocurrency represents the greatest economic shift in wealth in the history of mankind for the most amount of people. When you listen to what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about, the reason why the civil rights movement was a success because we started hitting them in the pocketbooks, the bus boycotts, the business boycotts. We're not going to give you our money. Watch how fast laws change when their economic pocketbook is being hit. So instead of in this new era talking about trying to hit their pocketbook to force them to give us what is natural, our own rights to exist and thrive and support our family, instead, why don't we create our own economics? Wealth is not generated on the competitive field. There is enough wealth and resources to go around for everybody. You just got to know how to tap into it. Where is the river of money going? The greatest economic shift of wealth in the history of mankind for the most amount of people. Why is that part important? There have been other economic shifts in wealth before, but not for everybody. Not everybody could participate in it. The default goal or the default setting in the United States is middle class, white, Christian, male. 95% of opportunities is geared and designed for that demographic only. Everybody else gets the crumbs. But what about an opportunity for everybody? What is that? Well, all you need, what if I told you only need 3 things to achieve complete financial economic freedom? 3 things. 1 or 2 of them you already have. A cell phone, access to the internet. But the third is the most difficult. Your mind. A willingness to learn. One of the other reasons why slavery was able to last so long is because they prevented our people from having the ability to read and learn and get educated. And that didn't end or stop with slavery. We had to fight that for another 100 years just to segregate the schools. Had to have armed government escorting 7-year-old girls just to go to school to get an equal education. Education was back then the key, and it is still the key today. Only problem is most people live in the matrix and don't even know that this is going on, that this exists. That's why I created Ivy League Crypto Academy, to teach and educate and get the word out. And it's not just for people who look like me, because I told you modern day slavery is based on class, not race. But the way out is this crypto, because crypto is not controlled by a government, a person, a business, an agenda. See, when it's controlled by a person, then you get all of their prejudices that come with it. But if it's controlled by math, a program, then everything else is irrelevant. It doesn't matter what your politics are. It doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter if you're white or black or Asian or any other persuasion. It doesn't matter if you have a college education or not. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, or child. It doesn't matter what your gender is. If you consider yourself a man or a woman, or if you're gay or straight, there's none of that matters. No prejudices matter. The only thing that matters is, do you have a willingness to learn and change your life? If the answer is yes, then the whole thought and idea of Juneteenth, of freedom, not freedom from physical chains, but freedom from mental chains. And this is the first time in human history that this has been possible. The day and age is today. So on this day of Juneteenth, as you reflect about the day that all Americans can really truly celebrate the 4th of July, also think about the next generation of breaking the mental slavery of financial oppression. that you have it in your own hands right now to change your family tree, where this opportunity is not going to be available for your children, your grandchildren, or their children. This is a unique time to be alive right now. And if you're an able bodied human, man, woman, or child that's breathing and the ability to learn, this is your shot. It only takes one to change a family tree. I've been watching Juneteenth celebrations all day, and I kept hearing story after story about individuals who were the first in their family to go to college, first in their family to make it out, first to do this and that. What are you the first to do? You could be the first, that one leaf on that tree, your family tree, that changes everything forever. Or you can sit back, remain ignorant, and watch it happen and watch it pass you by. That is it. I told you I wanted to keep this short and sweet. I just had that on my mind as I did my crypto training lesson earlier today. And I'll see the rest of you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bitcoin Brandon out. Bye-bye.